You feel tired, but it's not just in your head. You wake up groggy even after 8 hours. Your mood feels heavy before the day begins. You try everything: sleep apps, meditation, breath work, melatonin, but nothing seems to stick. And deep down you wonder, what's really going on inside me? Here's a truth you may not have been told. The way you sleep and the way you handle stress has a lot to do with what's happening in your gut. Not just digestion, not just food, but the ecosystem living inside you. Tiny microbes that influence your brain, your mood, your inflammation, and yes, your sleep cycle. You've heard of gut feeling, right? That's not a metaphor. It's biology, because your gut and your brain are in constant conversation. A two-way street. What you feel emotionally can disrupt your gut, but what happens in your gut can also amplify your stress. It can keep you awake. It can increase anxiety. It can make your nervous system more reactive and less able to settle down when the lights go out. So if you've been trying to fix your sleep by only focusing on the mind but ignoring the body, you're not broken. You're just missing half the equation. In today's episode, we're going to explore that missing half. How your gut health influences your stress response. How stress, in turn, inflames your gut. And most importantly, how to break that loop so your body can finally feel at home enough to rest. Not through supplements, not through hacks, but through understanding. Because sometimes the most powerful path to better sleep doesn't start in your brain. It starts in your belly. Your second brain. Why the gut matters more than you think. They used to say the brain runs the show, that every thought, every emotion, every behavior came from that one organ in your head. But science and real human experience is revealing something more layered, more intimate, and far more revolutionary. Because there is another brain, one that doesn't live behind your eyes, but beneath your ribs, in your belly, quiet, constant, often overlooked. And yet it shapes how you feel more than you realize. The second brain is your gut, and it is more connected to your sleep, your stress, and your sense of peace than anything else in your body. Let's start with the science, but not in a way that overwhelms. In your digestive tract, from the esophagus all the way down to the colon, lives a dense, highly sophisticated network of neurons called the enteric nervous system. Scientists call it the ENS. It's not just a few nerves. It's a literal command center, with over 100 million neurons, more than the spinal cord. And these neurons don't just respond to the brain above. They initiate, react, communicate, and process independently. Your gut is thinking, sensing, and sending messages even when your brain is quiet. And the primary messenger between these two brains? The vagus nerve. A long, wandering superhighway that connects the gut to the brainstem. Through it, your gut tells your brain what kind of day you're having, not just in terms of digestion, but emotionally. Are we safe? Are we under threat? Are we in balance? Or are we inflamed, chaotic, and fighting something invisible? This communication is not metaphorical. When your gut is out of balance, when the microbiome is disrupted, when inflammation is high, when your digestion is irregular, the messages your brain receives are tinted with distress. You may feel it as anxiety, or fogginess, or unexplained sadness. You may wake up already on edge, already behind, already exhausted, without knowing why. And while the world tells you to meditate more, breathe deeper, or take another supplement, your body might be whispering something else entirely. Look at your gut. Now pause. Let's go even deeper. This second brain isn't just sending signals, it's also producing chemicals, neurotransmitters. You've probably heard of serotonin, often called the feel-good chemical. What most people don't realize is that about 90% of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain, not the heart, the gut. And serotonin isn't just about mood. It plays a major role in sleep-wake cycles, in digestion, in pain sensitivity, and in how we handle emotional load. So when your gut is inflamed or imbalanced, serotonin production drops. And when that happens, you feel it in ways that are hard to explain, harder to fix. You may not feel depressed, but you might feel off, a step removed from your own calm. And that's enough to begin unraveling the quality of your sleep. Still with me? Let's talk about what throws this second brain out of balance. Because it's not just food, though food matters. It's also stress. Chronic, low-grade, everyday, invisible stress. The kind that doesn't feel like trauma, but still keeps your body in fight or flight all day long. Every time you rush through a meal, every time you tense up during a meeting, every time you scroll while eating, every time you suppress anger or force yourself to smile or feel obligated to hold it together, your nervous system feels it, and your gut absorbs it. Stress redirects blood away from digestion. It slows motility. It affects the production of digestive enzymes. It throws off the gut's delicate ecosystem of bacteria, what we call the microbiome. And that imbalance opens the door to inflammation, bloating, irregular bowel movements, and yes, disrupted sleep. And here's where the loop gets dangerous. Because when sleep is compromised, cortisol, your main stress hormone, goes up. And elevated cortisol further damages gut lining, disrupts microbial balance, and keeps your body in a state of low-grade emergency. It becomes a feedback loop. Gut stress leads to brain stress. Brain stress leads to gut dysfunction. And round you go, tired, tense, trying everything, and wondering why nothing sticks. But here's the shift I want you to feel. Your gut is not against you. It's not malfunctioning. It's communicating. It's trying to tell you what's wrong in the only language it knows, through symptoms, through fatigue, through discomfort, through a subtle sense of something's not right. And when you learn to listen to that voice, when you stop seeing your symptoms as enemies and start seeing them as messages, everything begins to change. You stop treating your body like a machine that needs to be fixed. You start treating it like an ally that's been sounding the alarm for a long time. So the next time you find yourself lying in bed, wide awake, heart racing, thoughts spinning, ask not just, what's wrong with me, but what is my gut trying to say? And in that question, you begin to unwind the story of stress and sleep, not from the top down, but from the inside out. In the next section, we'll look at the invisible driver behind much of this disruption: silent inflammation. What it is, how it creeps in without being noticed, and how it quietly shapes the way you feel, not just physically, but emotionally, energetically, and neurologically. So how do we begin to care for this second brain? How do we move from seeing our gut as simply a food processor to understanding it as a core emotional organ? It begins with noticing, with listening to what you've been ignoring. That feeling of tightness after a meal, the way your mood drops for no reason in the afternoon, the way you crave sugar or caffeine at night, not because you're weak, but because your gut is dysregulated and looking for a hit of energy. All of these are signals, not flaws, and that shift in perspective changes everything. When we're disconnected from our gut, we treat symptoms like isolated problems. Trouble falling asleep? Take melatonin. Anxiety? Breathe deeper. Stomach discomfort? try probiotics, but none of it sticks. Because the root isn't being addressed. The root is the loop. The ongoing dialogue between gut and brain that's been disrupted, sometimes for years. Maybe it started in childhood. Food wasn't eaten slowly. Emotions weren't processed. Stress was constant. Maybe it continued through adulthood. Always eating on the go, using coffee to wake and wine to sleep, skipping meals or stuffing feelings. Maybe your body never got the message that safety was allowed. And maybe your gut, as your most sensitive emotional organ, has been carrying that tension ever since. The good news? This isn't permanent. The gut is incredibly adaptable. Your microbiome, your enteric nervous system, your digestive rhythm, all of it can shift with consistent care. And that care doesn't begin with a grocery list. It begins with relationship. With asking, what does my gut need to feel safe again? Not full, not silent, not efficient, safe. Sometimes the answer is practical. More fiber, less processed food, more regular meal times. Sometimes the answer is emotional. Slower meals, eating without screens, bringing ritual back into nourishment. And often the answer is both. Because food isn't just fuel, it's communication. Every bite is a message to your gut, and your gut relays that message to your brain. So when you eat with panic, your brain receives panic. When you eat with stillness, your brain begins to downshift. Not because of what you ate, but how you ate. This is the beginning of reestablishing trust. Let me share a small example. Imagine 2 mornings. In the first, you oversleep, rush out the door, grab coffee and a granola bar, answer emails in traffic, and skip lunch until 3 p.m. In the second, you wake up, drink water slowly, eat something warm and grounding, and sit without screens for even 10 minutes. The difference is not just mental, it's biochemical. In the first, cortisol spikes, gut motility drops, and inflammation begins. In the second, your vagus nerve is activated, serotonin begins to stabilize, and your body receives the message, today is not an emergency. You may think you need a therapist, a supplement, or a perfect plan. But sometimes what your gut needs is for you to just slow down, to chew, to breathe while you chew, to sit down when you eat, to stop multitasking with meals. These things seem small, but to the nervous system, they are everything. They're signals, and those signals, sent often enough, begin to unwind the loop. And as the loop unwinds, so does your stress, so does your insomnia, so does your overthinking at night. Because when the body feels safe during the day, it stops guarding at night. One of the most beautiful truths in this entire process is that healing doesn't begin with control. It begins with rhythm, with ritual, with returning to the simple, the human, the ancient. A warm bowl of food, a quiet space to sit, a breath before you eat. A moment to say, whether out loud or silently, I'm here now, and I'm feeding more than just my hunger. I'm feeding trust. Let me pause and remind you, this is not about restriction. This is not about following a strict gut health protocol. It's about building intimacy with your body. Noticing what foods bring comfort and which ones bring contraction. Noticing how your body responds to timing, to environment, to pace. Maybe the issue isn't what you're eating, but how urgently you're consuming it. Maybe your gut isn't inflamed because of food, but because of how fast your life is moving when you eat. And when that slows, everything shifts. This is where science meets soul, where microbiome meets mindfulness, where digestion becomes sacred again, not because it's clean or trendy, but because it's the most ancient act of nourishment. You receive, you break down, you absorb, you let go. And so it is with sleep. To rest, you must feel safe enough to let go. To feel safe, your body must believe the world won't fall apart if it stops, and your gut is the first place that belief lives. If it's constantly inflamed, tense, or undernourished, that belief becomes impossible to hold. But when it begins to relax, so does the rest of you. That's the gut-brain loop. That's why your digestion isn't a side issue, it's the center. And in this podcast, we're going to continue to explore how to nurture it, not with perfection, but with presence, not with discipline, but with care. In the next part, we'll look more deeply at silent inflammation, what it is, how it quietly dysregulates your sleep, your stress, and your mood, and how to start identifying the signs before they scream. Because the body always whispers before it shouts. And if you learn to listen to the whispers, you rarely have to break. Silent inflammation and the stress sleep loop. You're exhausted, but the blood work looks normal. You're anxious, but nothing specific happened. You can't sleep through the night, but you've tried every method. Magnesium, melatonin, mindfulness. Still, your body doesn't cooperate. You wake up groggy. You move through the day with a weight you can't name. And somewhere inside, you start to wonder, is this just who I am now? But here's what almost no one tells you. Many of these symptoms, the fatigue, the restlessness, the short fuse, the foggy mind, the unpredictable digestion, they may not be mental health problems. They may not even be about stress in the way we think of it. They may be the quiet echoes of something happening deeper in the body. Something that isn't loud, isn't visible, isn't caught in standard tests, but it's real. It's called silent inflammation. Unlike acute inflammation, the kind you get when you sprain your ankle or catch a cold, silent inflammation doesn't shout, it doesn't swell or turn red or heat up. Instead, it hums beneath the surface, persistent, subtle, systemic. It's the body's low-grade immune response that never quite turns off. It's like a fire that keeps smoldering in the walls of a house, not enough to burn it down, but enough to weaken the foundation. And here's where it gets personal. Your gut is ground zero for this fire. Over 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. That's not a fun fact. That's a clue, because when your gut lining is inflamed, from poor diet, chronic stress, lack of sleep, or environmental toxins, that immune system starts to overreact. It sends out cytokines, signaling molecules that trigger inflammation. These cytokines travel. They reach your brain, your joints, your muscles, your nervous system, and they tell your body something is wrong. Stay on high alert. The result? You feel tired, but wired. Your body wants to rest, but your brain won't shut down. Your digestion slows or speeds up. Your mood swings without cause. You lie awake at 3 a.m. not because of caffeine or blue light, but because your nervous system is flooded with silent alarms it doesn't know how to silence. This is not in your head. It's in your cells. It's not about willpower. It's about biochemistry. But because this inflammation isn't visible, and because it creeps in over months or years, most people don't connect the dots. They just think they're failing. At health, at sleep, at life. They chase solutions. They optimize. They track every metric. But they never hear the core message. Your body is not misbehaving. It's inflamed, and it's asking you to listen. So where does silent inflammation begin? Most people assume it starts with food. And yes, diet matters, but the truth is more layered. Silent inflammation doesn't come from a single trigger. It comes from the body's repeated exposure to microstressors, tiny, manageable insults that become chronic over time. Think of it like this. 1 bee sting hurts. 100 mosquito bites every day. that drains your system slowly, invisibly. Let's look at what those mosquito bites actually are. First, emotional suppression. When you regularly hold in anger, fake okayness, or power through disappointment without expression or support, you create internal stress. This isn't metaphor. Studies show that repressed emotion leads to heightened inflammatory markers in the blood. Your immune system can't tell the difference between emotional threat and physical one. Both are treated as danger. So every time you smile through pain, your body braces, and over time, it inflames. Second, irregular eating rhythms. Skipping meals, eating late at night, grazing all day without structure. Each of these disrupts your digestive rhythm, and the gut thrives on rhythm. Without it, your microbial diversity suffers. When that ecosystem gets out of balance, what scientists call dysbiosis, certain bacteria overgrow, others vanish, and the lining of your gut becomes compromised. That's how inflammation leaks in, quietly, persistently. Third, chronic undersleeping, even by small amounts. You don't need to be an insomniac for inflammation to build. Missing 30 to 60 minutes of deep sleep regularly is enough to dysregulate your immune system. That dysregulation doesn't just make you tired. It increases pro-inflammatory cytokines, which in turn make it harder to sleep the next night. Again, the loop tightens. Fourth, low-grade food sensitivities. These are not full-blown allergies. They don't make your throat swell or send you to the hospital, but they do send signals. Bloating, brain fog, skin flare-ups. You might not notice the connection at first, but if your body is subtly reacting to something, gluten, dairy, processed oils, or additives, it's working overtime to maintain balance. That effort costs energy, and that cost shows up in your nervous system. Fifth, stress without resolution. Meaning, when your body enters fight or flight and never fully exits. This could come from a demanding job, financial instability, social pressure, or even high-functioning anxiety. That constant internal voice saying, keep going, do more, don't stop. This pattern keeps cortisol elevated. Over time, cortisol suppresses immune function, weakens the gut barrier, and triggers, you guessed it, inflammation. And finally, disconnection from the body, living from the neck up. Treating symptoms as annoyances instead of messages. Taking medications to numb discomfort without asking where it's coming from. This disconnection doesn't just delay healing, it prevents it. Because when you're not listening, your body has no choice but to speak louder. And its loudest language is inflammation. Now pause with me. None of this is about shame. You're not wrong for not knowing. You're not lazy for being tired. You're not broken because your sleep is inconsistent or your emotions feel too loud. You're just living in a system that taught you to override your own signals. A culture that praises productivity, speed, and numbness. And when you try to slow down, to rest, to sleep, your body doesn't know how to believe it yet, because it's still fighting, still inflamed. But here's the beauty. Inflammation is not irreversible. It's not permanent. It's not destiny. It's just the body's way of saying, I've been doing too much for too long without enough support. And when that support returns, even slowly, even imperfectly, the body softens. The mind clears. The sleep deepens. Because the alarm bells stop ringing. So how do you know if silent inflammation is at play in your life? If it's silent, how do you even hear it? The truth is, your body has been whispering the signs for a while now, but you may have been trained, like most of us, to dismiss, normalize, or medicate them. Let's slow down and name them clearly, not to diagnose, but to help you reconnect. Here are some of the most common real-world signals of silent inflammation. You wake up tired, even after sleeping 7 or 8 hours. You push through the day with caffeine or adrenaline and crash in the evening. You feel bloated often, even when eating healthy food. Your mood is unpredictable, low for no clear reason, irritated at small things, or emotionally flat when you want to feel joy. You experience skin flare-ups, maybe acne, eczema, or rashes that come and go. Your joints feel stiff, even if you haven't exercised. You catch colds easily. You have brain fog, forgetfulness, or trouble focusing on tasks that used to be easy. You feel wired at night, not from energy, but from restlessness, like your body doesn't know how to downshift. You lie in bed scanning tomorrow's to-do list. You have short bursts of motivation followed by long periods of inertia. Your breath is shallow without you realizing it. And perhaps most telling of all, you no longer trust your body. You don't feel at home inside it. You feel like it's unpredictable, unreliable, or working against you. That disconnection is not a flaw. It's a symptom of living too long in a body that's been inflamed, ignored, or misunderstood. But again, this is not cause for fear. This is cause for listening. Because what your body needs now is not stricter rules, harsher discipline, or another expensive protocol. What it needs is your presence. It needs to know you're finally willing to stop fighting it, to stop overriding its cues, to stop managing symptoms like problems and start relating to them like messages. Imagine, just for a moment, that every one of those signals, the fatigue, the irritability, the gut issues, the racing mind, was your body trying to say, please pay attention. Please help me feel safe again. Please don't make me carry this alone. How would you respond? Would you shame yourself for not doing enough? Or would you soften? Would you slow down? Would you ask your body, what do you need from me today? Because that question, asked consistently, begins to reverse inflammation. No, it doesn't work instantly. It doesn't erase years of silent stress overnight, but it changes your posture toward yourself. And that shift in posture matters more than any supplement, smoothie, or self-care checklist. Because when your body feels seen, it stops shouting. When your body feels supported, it stops bracing. And when your body feels safe, sleep returns, not as a reward, but as a natural rhythm restored. So how do we begin to cool the fire? How do we step out of the loop without trying to micromanage every food, every emotion, every supplement? The answer may sound too gentle to work, but it's the most powerful one I've ever seen. Safety. That's what inflammation is missing. That's what your gut needs to heal. That's what your nervous system is scanning for all day. Not perfection, not productivity, not biohacks, but signals of safety. Safety tells the immune system to stand down. Safety tells the gut lining it's time to repair. Safety tells the brain that the night is not a threat. And you don't manufacture that signal through control. You cultivate it through rhythm, warmth, and care. So in part 3, we'll go beyond the science and into the soul. We'll explore how to send your gut the signal it's been begging for. Not with food alone, but with relationship. A felt sense of safety that transforms not just digestion, but sleep, mood, and the way you carry yourself in your own body. Rebuilding the gut-brain connection through safety signals. You don't need more willpower. You need more signals of safety. This may be the most radical and most misunderstood truth in the conversation around gut health, stress, and sleep. For decades, we've been told that fixing the body is about effort, that health comes from control, That rest is a privilege you earn once everything is clean, scheduled, and optimized. But your nervous system doesn't speak the language of discipline. It speaks the language of signal. And what it's listening for, all the time, every minute of every day, is simple. Am I safe, or am I under threat? This is not just philosophical, this is biological. Your autonomic nervous system, your enteric nervous system, and your immune system are constantly scanning your environment, your internal state, and your relational energy for clues. When those clues point to safety, your body enters what's called the parasympathetic state. Rest and digest. Your gut begins to move. Your inflammation begins to fall. Your mind begins to quiet. But when the clues point to danger, real or imagined, your body enters sympathetic overdrive. Fight, flight, freeze, digestive shutdown, sleep disruption, mental fog, hormonal imbalance. Not because you're weak, but because your body thinks it's saving your life. So how do you change the clues? You start sending new signals, not just once, but over and over, gently, repetitively, consistently, until your body begins to believe you again. Let's get practical. One of the most powerful safety signals for the gut-brain axis is deep, slow, rhythmic breathing. Not forced, not counted, just soft, slow breath through the nose. When you breathe this way, your diaphragm moves. When your diaphragm moves, your vagus nerve is stimulated. And when your vagus nerve is activated, the message is clear. We're safe now. Just 5 minutes a day, especially before meals or before bed, can shift your entire digestive rhythm. It tells your gut, you don't have to guard anymore. You can do your real job now. Another safety signal? Warmth. Sounds simple, but warmth tells the body it's not in survival mode. A warm drink in the morning, a hot water bottle on the belly, a warm bath before bed. These are not luxuries. They're language, especially for the gut, which relaxes and softens when heat is applied. Then there's slowness. In a culture obsessed with speed, slowness is radical. Eat slower, walk slower, speak slower. When you slow down, you tell your body it's not being chased. You tell your nervous system there's time. And when there's time, digestion returns. Inflammation reduces. Sleep comes back. And perhaps the most overlooked safety signal of all, loving inner voice. The way you speak to yourself, in silence, in fatigue, in frustration, is more important than any health protocol. When your gut flares up and your mind panics and you feel like everything is falling apart, try this instead of spiraling. Place a hand on your belly and say, I'm here. I see you. You're not broken. You're asking for care. And I'm listening now. It may feel silly at first, but remember, your body is not logical. It's relational. It responds to tone, not argument. And when you shift your tone from war to partnership, your entire system begins to thaw. Let's go deeper now. We've talked about breath, about warmth, about the voice inside you. But what about your rhythms? Because nothing regulates your gut and nervous system more than the rhythms you live by. Not rigid routines. Rhythms. Think of your body as an orchestra. And rhythm is what holds the instruments together. When your rhythms are chaotic, eating at inconsistent times, working late into the night, sleeping at different hours every weekend, your gut doesn't know when to do its job. Your brain doesn't know when to shut off. Your hormones don't know when to cycle. It's like running a factory with no schedule. The machines don't break right away, but over time, they burn out. Now think about the opposite. What if your body knew what was coming? What if it trusted that food, rest, movement, and stillness were coming at steady intervals? That trust is what sends the gut into parasympathetic restoration. That trust is what turns off the fire of chronic inflammation. That trust is what makes sleep natural again. Not forced, not hacked. So where do you start? Try eating at roughly the same time every day, even on weekends. You don't have to be strict. You just need to be predictable. Your gut craves that more than any superfood. Try waking and sleeping within a 30-minute window every day. Again, not perfection, just rhythm. So your nervous system isn't guessing when to activate or when to release. Try moving your body around the same time every day. It could be a walk, gentle yoga, stretching in the sunlight. Movement is a signal. It says, we're alive, we're not stuck, we're not freezing. And that signal, when done in rhythm, gives your gut the permission it needs to keep moving too. Then there's light. Light is the master clock. Your eyes aren't the only part of you that see light. Your skin sees it, your gut feels it, your circadian rhythm is shaped by it. So, getting natural light within 30 minutes of waking isn't a wellness trend. It's a gut health protocol. Why? Because when morning light hits your eyes, it signals your brain to release cortisol at the right time. That starts your energy cycle, which aligns with your digestive cycle. Cortisol is not the enemy. Mistimed cortisol is. So if you're exhausted all day and wired at night, look first at your light rhythms. Another overlooked signal? Sound. Certain tones relax the vagus nerve. Humming, chanting, low instrumental music. Singing, even badly, helps. Why? Because the vagus nerve wraps around your vocal cords. When you hum, you vibrate the nerve that tells your gut, you're safe. That's why kids calm down when you sing to them. That's why lullabies work. That's why you feel better when you sing in the car. It's not just emotion, it's neurology. And finally, touch. Gentle, non-sexual, reassuring touch. A warm hand on your belly. A weighted blanket. A self-hug. A massage. All of these tell your system, we are held, we are not alone. In the absence of touch, the body feels abandoned, and abandonment is a survival threat, especially for the gut. Remember, the gut isn't just digesting food, it's digesting life. And if life feels too fast, too harsh, too cold, the gut contracts, stops, inflames. It needs softness to begin again. You may be thinking, this sounds too simple, too soft, too small to matter. But the truth is, the more dysregulated your nervous system, the quieter the medicine needs to be. When your gut is inflamed, aggressive protocols make it worse. When your sleep is fragile, strict control ruins it further. What heals you is not control, it's consistency. It's gentle repetition. This is what safety signals do. They don't shout, they whisper. They say you don't have to fight anymore. You're allowed to come home to yourself now. Let me tell you a story. A woman once came to me after years of insomnia. She had tried everything: blue light blockers, cold plunges, expensive supplements, high-protein dinners, therapy, EMDR, acupuncture. She was exhausted, angry, and scared her body would never work again. She asked what else she could do. I asked her, "What makes your body feel safe?" She paused, and then she cried. Because no one had asked her that before. She'd been trying to fix herself for so long. She forgot she was allowed to care for herself. She started with small things: warm lemon water in the morning, stretching before checking her phone, sitting down to eat, a reminder on her mirror, my body isn't broken, it's trying to feel safe. 3 months later, she slept through the night. Not every night, but enough to feel like herself again. She didn't heal through control, she healed through safety. And you can too. So let's make it simple. What does a day filled with safety signals actually look like? It might begin with waking slowly, letting light into your room, and stretching before reaching for your phone. It might mean sipping something warm, not for detox, but for grounding. It could be placing a hand on your belly and saying, "Today, I listen to you." Then, eating your breakfast sitting down, not scrolling, not rushing, just chewing, breathing, and letting your gut remember what slowness feels like. It might mean taking 3 deep breaths before meetings, stepping outside for a few minutes of sunlight, taking a walk after meals. It might mean turning your phone off an hour before bed, humming as you brush your teeth, or reading instead of scrolling. And when you lie down, not asking yourself to sleep, but asking your body what it needs to rest. These are not hacks, they're rituals. Tiny rituals that remind your body you're no longer in danger. You're not in fight or flight. You're not surviving. You're safe. And in safety, healing begins. Food as communication, not just nutrition. Let's talk about food, but not in the way you're used to. This isn't about macros, calories, or clean eating. It's not about gut cleanse diets or eliminating entire food groups. It's about something deeper, something most wellness advice misses. Food is not just nutrition, it's communication. Every bite you take is a message. Not just to your metabolism, but to your immune system, your nervous system, your microbiome, your brain. The timing, texture, temperature, smell, speed, and emotion behind the food all send signals that tell your body, am I safe? Am I stressed? Am I supported? Am I being punished? And your gut? It listens to every word. That's why 2 people can eat the same meal and have completely different responses. One feels nourished, the other feels bloated, tired, or inflamed. Why? Because the context of the meal changes the outcome. One ate in peace, the other ate in shame. One ate slowly, with breath. The other ate standing up on their phone while stressed. It's not just what you eat, it's the story the meal tells your body. Let's start with something simple, chewing. Chewing is the first stage of digestion, but most of us don't chew enough. We swallow fast, we eat while distracted, we rush. And the gut, unprepared, is forced to break down food it wasn't ready for. That leads to bloating, fatigue, and sluggishness. But when you chew slowly, 20 to 30 times per bite, your body receives the signal. We're not in danger. We have time. You can rest. Next, temperature. Warm cooked meals are easier to digest than cold raw ones, especially when your system is already stressed. Why? Because warmth tells the body, this is safe, this is comfort. That doesn't mean you need to stop eating salads. But if your gut is inflamed, favoring warm soups, broths, stews, or lightly cooked veggies can be a gentle way to support healing. Then there's timing. Eating irregularly sends the gut mixed messages. Sometimes it fasts for 18 hours. Sometimes it eats non-stop. This unpredictability taxes your microbiome. It confuses your digestive hormones. But eating at roughly the same times each day, even without changing the foods, can dramatically lower inflammation. It's not about rigidity, it's about rhythm. And what about pleasure? You've been taught to feel guilty about enjoying food, but pleasure is a safety signal. When your nervous system feels pleasure, it shifts into rest and digest. So when you eat food you love, and you love yourself while eating it, digestion improves. Hormones stabilize. Your gut says, this is what it's like to be alive and supported. Now let's talk about restriction. If you've ever dieted, cleansed, or labeled foods good or bad, your body remembers. Restriction creates stress. Even if you're eating perfectly now, your gut may still be operating under the threat of scarcity. The memory of not being fed, of being punished, of food being a battlefield. And that memory drives inflammation. That's why healing your gut isn't just about adding fermented foods or cutting sugar. It's about healing your relationship with food. Because until your body trusts that nourishment is consistent, safe, and free of shame, it will stay on alert. And that alertness keeps you awake at night. Healing foods for the gut-brain axis. Let's begin with this. Your body wants to heal. That's not a cliche. It's a biological truth. Every cell in your gut, every strand of your microbiome, every neural pathway between your belly and brain, it's all trying to return to balance. Not to perfection, not to some ideal weight or flawless sleep pattern, just to balance. And food, when chosen with care, not control, becomes one of the most powerful ways to support that return. So what kinds of food actually help calm the inflammation loop? What helps your gut feel safe, soothed, and supported? Let's start with the most foundational. Fiber. Not just because it keeps you regular, but because fiber feeds the good bacteria in your gut. When you eat foods rich in fiber, like oats, lentils, flaxseed, beans, sweet potatoes, berries, or greens, you're not just feeding yourself, you're feeding an entire ecosystem living inside you. That ecosystem, in turn, produces short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, which reduce inflammation, repair the gut lining, and even communicate with your brain to improve sleep quality. This is what most people miss. When you eat for your gut, you're not just digesting food, you're shaping your mood, you're regulating your nervous system, you're laying the biochemical groundwork for deeper rest. Next, fermented foods. These include yogurt, unsweetened, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, tempeh, and kombucha without excess sugar. These foods contain live beneficial bacteria that help diversify your microbiome. But here's the key. More isn't always better. If your gut is inflamed or overly sensitive, introduce fermented foods slowly. Just a tablespoon of sauerkraut or a few sips of kefir at a time, and notice how your body responds. Then we have healthy fats, especially omega-3s. These fats reduce systemic inflammation and support brain health. Think wild-caught salmon, sardines, walnuts, chia seeds, flax oil, and even pasture-raised eggs. Omega-3s don't just support your brain, they support your gut-brain bridge. The communication pathway that helps your nervous system settle and your body sleep. Polyphenol-rich foods are next. These are plant compounds that feed beneficial bacteria and reduce oxidative stress. You'll find them in foods like blueberries, green tea, olive oil, dark chocolate, yes, in moderation, pomegranates, and herbs like rosemary and turmeric. They don't just fight inflammation, they nourish resilience. The gut's ability to bounce back after stress, one of the most underrated gut soothers? Bone broth. Warm, mineral-rich, collagen-filled bone broth has been used in traditional healing for centuries. Its gelatin content helps repair the gut lining, while its warmth sends a clear safety signal to the nervous system. Sip it slowly. Add herbs, make it part of your wind-down routine. Let it become less about what it does, and more about how it feels. But now, let's pause, because this is where the danger of control can sneak in. This list is not a rule book. You're not here to start a new diet. You're here to start a new relationship with food, one that honors your body's cues, not overrides them. Sometimes the most healing choice is not the most perfect food, but the meal you can eat in peace. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not change your grocery list, but change the way you sit down at the table. Sometimes what your gut needs is not a cleanse, but consistency. So instead of obsessing over what to eat next, ask your body, what would feel grounding today? What would help me exhale? What would make me feel held, not just fed? And trust that those answers, though quiet, are wiser than any trend. So let's imagine a day, not a perfect day, but a healing one. You wake up gently, no alarms that jolt you out of sleep, just soft light, a stretch, and a moment of stillness before your feet hit the floor. You make your way to the kitchen. There's warm lemon water waiting. You sip it slowly, not to flush toxins, but to greet your gut. We're awake now, you tell it, but we're not rushing. Breakfast isn't complicated. Maybe it's oatmeal cooked with almond milk, cinnamon, and chia seeds, topped with a few blueberries and a spoonful of flax. Maybe it's eggs with sautéed greens and half an avocado. Whatever it is, it's warm. It's eaten seated, and it's chewed, slowly, lovingly, with no phone in sight. You breathe. You let your stomach receive, not just digest. Mid-morning, you step outside. Let the sun touch your face. This isn't about steps or calories. It's about rhythm. It's about the primal reminder. You are alive. You are connected. You are part of something bigger than your schedule. Lunch arrives not when you're starving, but when you notice gentle hunger. You eat something grounding. Maybe a soup, a grain bowl, or leftovers reheated with care. You focus on color, fiber, warmth. You speak kindly to yourself, even if your day is busy. You sit down, again, because sitting is a nervous system signal. We're not in crisis. The afternoon might come with stress. That's okay. You breathe. You notice. You hum for a minute between tasks. You sip herbal tea instead of powering through on caffeine. You keep your blood sugar steady, not because it's trendy, but because it tells your brain you're safe to feel. You don't have to collapse. Dinner isn't late. You let your digestion finish before bed. You go for warmth again. Roasted root vegetables, sautéed greens, maybe salmon or lentils with herbs. You add olive oil. You add intention. You let it be enough. And maybe after dinner, you have a square of dark chocolate, not as a reward, but as a ritual. Pleasure isn't the enemy. It's the pathway back to rest. As bedtime nears, you feel something shift. You're not buzzing. You're not crashing. You're not looking for snacks or stimulation. Your body has what it needs. It knows that food will come tomorrow, that it doesn't have to fight tonight, that it is supported, nourished, and finally allowed to rest. This is not about being perfect. This is about being present. Food doesn't just shape your gut, it shapes your trust in your body. And trust is the foundation of sleep. The vagus nerve reset, tapping into the body's natural relaxation switch. If your body had a switch, a built-in reset button for stress, digestion, and sleep, would you press it? What if I told you that switch exists? That your body, right now, already holds the power to shift from anxiety to calm, from inflammation to healing, from sleeplessness to rest. Not with a pill or protocol, but through a nerve you've probably never heard much about. Its name is the vagus nerve, and it might just be the most important part of your healing journey. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in your body, running from your brainstem down through your face, throat, lungs, heart, diaphragm, and most critically for us, your gut. It's the main highway of the parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for rest and digest. And unlike most nerves, the vagus isn't just one way. It's bidirectional, which means your gut talks to your brain just as much as your brain talks to your gut. In fact, 80% of the traffic goes from the gut to the brain, not the other way around. Let that sink in. Your thoughts don't just shape your digestion. Your digestion shapes your thoughts, your sleep, your moods, your sense of safety, and it does so primarily through the vagus nerve. But here's the problem. In a stressed, overstimulated, disconnected life, the vagus nerve goes quiet, like a phone line with static. It stops transmitting safety. It stops calming the inflammation loop. And your body, without that soothing signal, gets stuck in fight or flight. So how do we bring it back online? How do we wake up the vagus nerve and reteach it to send the signal your body has been longing to hear? You're safe now. It's okay to rest. The answer isn't loud. It's not fancy. It's not a biohack. It's slow, repetitive, rhythmic. And it begins with something you do 20,000 times a day. Breathing. Not shallow chest breathing, which signals urgency, but deep, diaphragmatic breathing, the kind where your belly expands on the inhale and softens on the exhale. This kind of breathing stretches the diaphragm, which directly stimulates the vagus nerve. And when you stimulate the vagus nerve, you activate the parasympathetic state. You literally flip the switch from stress to rest. Try this right now. Place one hand on your belly. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4, letting your belly rise. Exhale through your mouth for a count of 6, letting your belly soften. Do this for 1 minute. No pressure. Just notice. You might feel a drop in heart rate, a loosening in your chest, a slight exhale you didn't realize you were holding. That's your vagus nerve, waking up. But breath isn't the only way to activate it. So breath is one key. But what else speaks the language of the vagus nerve? Sound. The vagus nerve wraps around your vocal cords and the muscles in your throat. This means that when you use your voice, especially in low resonant tones, you're massaging the nerve that calms your entire system. Humming, chanting, singing in the shower, reading aloud to yourself, these aren't just quirky habits, they're healing. Humming a simple tone for a few minutes can activate your vagal tone. Try it right now. Close your mouth, breathe in gently through your nose, and on the exhale, hum a single note. Feel the vibration in your chest, your throat, your head. That vibration is communication. Your nervous system hears it, your gut feels it, your whole body softens. Cold exposure also stimulates the vagus nerve, not through extremes, but through gentle contrast. You don't need to jump into an ice bath. Simply splashing cold water on your face, ending your shower with 10 seconds of cool water, or placing a cold compress on your chest can trigger the diving reflex. A parasympathetic response that slows your heart rate, reduces inflammation, and tells your body, you can pause now. Then there's gargling. Yes, gargling. A full-bodied, deep-throated gargle stimulates the muscles in the back of the throat that are directly innervated by the vagus nerve. Doing this for 30 seconds a day, especially in the morning or before bed, can improve vagal tone over time. It's odd, but it works. Laughter is another potent activator. Not polite, social laughter. Real, belly-shaking, tears-in-your-eyes laughter. The kind that makes you lose control for a second. Laughter rhythmically contracts and releases your diaphragm, which massages the vagus nerve. It's why you feel lighter after laughing, even if nothing in your life changed. Because your nervous system did. Eye contact and safe touch are next. When you make warm, relaxed eye contact with someone you trust, or when you're held, hugged, or even touched on the back, your social engagement system lights up. This system is directly linked to the vagus nerve. It evolved not just for survival, but for connection. And connection is the deepest safety signal we have. Even pets count. Holding your dog, stroking a cat, letting a bird perch on your hand. These are not distractions, they're biological anchors. They shift your vagal tone. They shift your state. Posture too plays a role. When you sit slumped forward, head down, shoulders curved, you compress your diaphragm and signal defeat. But when you sit upright, open-chested, head gently lifted, you open your vagal pathway. You breathe more deeply. You feel more awake, more grounded. This isn't about good posture for appearance. It's about internal architecture, the way your structure supports your signals. And then there's one final tool: presence. The vagus nerve listens to attention. When your mind is scattered, multitasking, judging, scanning, your body tightens. But when you're present, truly present, even for a few breaths, your vagus nerve listens. It says, oh, we're here now, we're not under threat, we can settle. So whether you're cooking, washing dishes, walking, or talking to someone you love, the more you can bring your attention to that moment, the more you help your body switch from chaos to calm. Now pause. Take a breath. This isn't a to-do list. This is a reminder. You are not helpless. You are not broken. You are not at the mercy of your thoughts, your gut, or your sleep patterns. You have tools inside you, available now, and the more you use them, gently, regularly, the more your vagus nerve strengthens, the more your body relaxes, the more your sleep returns. So how do you bring it all together? You don't need hours. You don't need equipment. You just need intention. And about 10 to 15 minutes before bed, here's a simple vagus nerve reset routine to help you sleep. Start by dimming the lights about an hour before bed. Light, especially blue light, tells your brain it's still daytime. So start telling your nervous system, night is here. Let your eyes adjust. Let your brain slow down. Next, step away from screens. This is not about discipline. It's about rhythm. When your eyes are constantly scanning a bright screen, your nervous system is in a subtle alert state. Give your body a signal of closure. Let the digital world wait. Run warm water over your hands or face, or take a short warm shower. The warmth relaxes your muscles and stimulates parasympathetic activation. If you end with a short burst of cool water, it can trigger the diving reflex, a gentle way to cue the vagus nerve that it's time to rest. Now, make sound. This could be humming your favorite melody, or chanting Om for 3 slow breaths, or reading aloud a calming passage. The goal isn't performance, it's vibration. You're telling your body, we're not in a rush. We're here, we're grounded. Then find stillness. Lie down or sit with your back supported. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. Begin to breathe gently, slowly, deeply. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. Do this for 5 minutes. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Let it come back to the sound of your breath. Feel your belly rise, feel it fall. Let your body follow your breath into softness. Add in gentle touch. This could be a warm compress on your stomach, or wrapping yourself in a weighted blanket, or simply placing your hands over your heart and saying, I'm here now. I'm safe. I don't need to fight sleep. It's allowed to come. If it feels good, finish by gargling with warm salt water for 30 seconds. Or if you'd rather not, just do a big exaggerated yawn. Even fake yawns help stimulate the vagus nerve. Then lie down. No effort, no pressure to sleep. Just an open invitation. I trust you, body. I trust you to rest when you're ready. And maybe you won't fall asleep right away. That's okay, because you're not trying to sleep. You're telling your nervous system, I'm no longer in danger. I'm allowed to relax. And that message, repeated night after night, becomes your lullaby. The Deep Sleep Blueprint, rebuilding circadian rhythm through light, movement, and stillness. If sleep is the destination, then rhythm is the road. And the truth is, most of us have gotten lost along the way. We live in a world where we wake up to artificial light, spend the day sitting under fluorescent bulbs, move from screen to screen, and fall asleep long after the sun has set, often under the glow of a phone we can't put down. We wonder why we can't sleep, why our bodies feel tired but wired, why rest feels just out of reach. The answer isn't that you're broken, it's that your rhythm is broken, and you can fix it. Not by forcing sleep, but by rebuilding your internal clock, your circadian rhythm, the 24-hour cycle that governs every process in your body: energy, hunger, mood, immune function, hormone production, and yes, sleep. So how do we reset the rhythm? Let's begin where the rhythm begins: light. Your circadian rhythm is regulated by light and darkness. When light hits your eyes, specifically natural light early in the morning, it signals your brain to release cortisol, the get up and go hormone. But here's the key: that's a good thing. Morning cortisol, released at the right time, sets the tone for the rest of your day and night. Without it, your internal clock drifts. Cortisol peaks too late. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, doesn't rise when it should. Your energy crashes mid-morning, spikes at night, and sleep becomes misaligned. So here's your blueprint. Start your day with natural light within 30 minutes of waking. Go outside if you can. Even on a cloudy day, the natural spectrum of sunlight is far more powerful than any indoor light. Just 5 to 10 minutes of exposure is enough to anchor your rhythm. And if you can't get outside, open your windows wide. Let the light in. Let your skin and eyes remember. It's morning, then add movement. You don't need a full workout, just motion, a walk, a few stretches. Something that reminds your body we're not in danger, we're not frozen, we're alive, we're moving with the sun. This signals the brain to stabilize cortisol, increase dopamine, and shift into a state of alert calm, not frantic energy, but focused wakefulness. And that early movement pays dividends at night. Why? Because when you rise well, you sleep well. Midday, get another dose of sunlight if you can. Light around noon helps reinforce your internal timer. It gives your body clarity. This is the peak of the day. And the clearer your body is about where it is in time, the more it knows when to sleep. Now let's talk about darkness. Just as morning light sets your sleep up for success, evening light can sabotage it. When you expose your eyes and skin to bright artificial light after sunset, especially blue light from phones and TVs, your brain interprets it as daytime. Melatonin production drops. Your nervous system stays activated. You may feel tired, but not sleepy. That's circadian confusion. So 1 to 2 hours before bed, dim the lights in your space. Use warm bulbs. Turn off overheads. Use candles or lamps with amber tones. This doesn't just help you sleep, it sends a signal. We're winding down. Night is here. You're safe. Next, stillness. Modern life rarely gives us stillness. Even our rest is often filled with stimulation. But to sleep well, the body must practice stillness while awake. So carve out moments, even 5 minutes, where you sit without input. No phone, no news, no fixing, just being. You could listen to the hum of your home, the sound of the wind, the feeling of your breath. This isn't productivity, it's training. Training your nervous system to recognize peace. And when the body knows peace by day, it returns to it more easily by night. Let's put it all together now. Not as a rigid schedule, but as a rhythm that speaks your body's ancient language. One built, not around control, but consistency. Because your nervous system, your gut, your brain, they all crave one thing more than anything else: predictability. Predictability is safety, and safety is the doorway to sleep. Here's your sleep rhythm routine, a gentle reset for your circadian system. Morning, within 30 minutes of waking, step outside, even for just 5 minutes. Let natural light hit your face, your eyes, your skin. If you can, combine this with movement, a walk, gentle stretches, even standing on your balcony or front step. No sunglasses unless absolutely needed. Let your brain register, it's daytime, I can wake up. Late morning, midday, get a second dose of natural light. This reinforces the timing of your circadian rhythm. Eat lunch away from your desk. Step outside. Move your body. This is not just about metabolism, it's about rhythm. Movement during daylight tells your brain, we're active now, we'll rest later. Afternoon, notice your energy dip. It's natural. Instead of fighting it with caffeine, try pausing. A 10-minute stillness break. Gentle breath work. A light walk. Let your body feel the downshift without panicking. The more you can rest while awake, the easier it will rest at night. Evening, 1 to 2 hours before bed. Start dimming your lights. Use warm amber tones. Light a candle. Turn off overheads. Create visual cues that day is ending. This helps melatonin rise. If possible, turn off screens. If you must use them, use night mode or blue light filters. Now add stillness. Do a wind down ritual, not productivity, presence. This could be gentle stretching with slow breathing, sipping herbal tea in silence, journaling 3 things you're grateful for, listening to soft music or reading fiction, humming a song that soothes you. The key is rhythm, doing this at the same time each night. Not perfectly, but predictably. Right before bed, make your space dark. No lights, no TV, no glowing phone next to your head. Darkness tells the pineal gland to release melatonin. Let your room be cool, quiet, and safe. Do your vagus reset if you'd like. Hand on your belly, slow breaths, maybe a soft phrase like, "We made it, it's safe now." Lie down. Don't try to sleep. Just let go. You've already done the work. You've given your body the light, movement, stillness, and signals it needed. Now trust it to do what it was made to do. Sleep isn't a task, it's a return. And rhythm, not control, is the way back. Emotional rest, releasing the hidden stressors that block sleep. There's a kind of tired that sleep won't fix. You know it. You felt it. That heaviness behind your eyes even after 8 hours. That bone-deep exhaustion after a restful weekend. That ache in your chest when you lie down, wide awake, your body still but your mind loud. That's not physical tiredness, that's emotional fatigue. And it's one of the most overlooked reasons people can't sleep. Because sleep doesn't just require a quiet room and a good mattress. It requires a quiet mind. And most of us, even when our bodies are in bed, are carrying the weight of things we haven't said, haven't felt, haven't let ourselves grieve or name. This is emotional clutter, and it builds up like noise in your nervous system. It sounds like I should have done more today. Why did I say that? What if something bad happens tomorrow? I can't believe they treated me that way. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And maybe the words change, but the feeling doesn't. It's a loop, a hum, a low-grade emotional tension that never fully releases, and your body feels it, even when your mind pretends not to. Here's the truth. The body remembers what the mind avoids. So if you've been trying everything, better food, better light, better routines, and you still can't sleep, maybe it's not your habits that need to change. Maybe it's your heart that needs space to speak. We are not taught how to rest emotionally. We are taught to push through, to be grateful, to stay strong. to distract ourselves, to move on. But rest, real rest, requires us to feel, to let the tears come, to name the grief, to admit the resentment, to be honest about the fears that visit us at 2 a.m. when no one's watching. This honesty is not weakness. It's how we free the nervous system from pretending, because the truth will always find a way to be heard, either through anxiety, insomnia, illness, or surrender. So how do you begin? You begin with permission. Permission to feel what you're feeling, without rushing to fix it. You sit in stillness and ask, what am I carrying right now? You let the answers come slowly. I'm scared I'm falling behind. I'm tired of holding it all together. I miss someone who's no longer here. I don't feel safe in my own life. You let those truths land, and then you say the words you wish someone had said to you. I see you. It's okay to let go. You don't have to solve this tonight. You're allowed to rest, even while it's unfinished. So how do you rest? Emotionally? You don't push, you don't force, you create space. Think of it like this. Your emotional life is a room. All day long, you've been shoving things into it. Disappointments, frustrations, little rejections, big fears, guilt, confusion, shame. You tell yourself, I'll deal with it later. But when bedtime comes, that door swings open, and all the emotions come spilling out. That's not failure. That's what happens when we don't give ourselves time to feel while we're awake. So let's reclaim that space. Let's create an evening ritual not to distract, but to release. Here are some gentle ways to begin. Start with emotional check-in journaling. Not a to-do list, not a gratitude list, just a moment of raw truth. Ask yourself, what needs to be witnessed tonight? Set a timer for 5 minutes. Write without editing. Let the thoughts come messy and out of order. Maybe it's, I feel behind. I miss them. I'm not sure I like who I'm becoming. I'm scared this isn't going to work. Don't analyze it. Don't fix it. Just witness it. This act alone can lower emotional cortisol, the stress held in the psyche, and make space for your nervous system to rest. Another tool, voice release. Sit in stillness. Close your eyes, place a hand over your heart, and speak softly out loud as if you were talking to your child's self. You can say, I'm proud of how you showed up today. You were tired, but you kept going. It's okay to not have it all figured out. I'm not leaving you alone in this. It may feel strange at first, but your body responds to tone more than logic. And your nervous system is wired for comfort through voice, especially your own. When you speak kindly to yourself out loud, your vagus nerve listens, your immune system listens, your gut listens, sleep listens. Then consider gentle emotional movement. Put on soft instrumental music. Let your body sway. No choreography, just breath and motion. Let your arms move like waves. Let your spine bend. Let your head drop. This is somatic release, trauma-informed, body-first healing. You're not thinking your way out. You're moving your way through. Maybe you cry. Maybe you sigh. Maybe nothing happens, except you feel a little more human afterward. That's enough. And finally, physical safety anchoring. Lie in bed and press both hands to your chest. Or hug a pillow tightly. Or wrap yourself in a heavy blanket. Let your body feel containment. Let yourself whisper, you're safe now. There's nothing you have to prove. You're allowed to rest. Because sleep is not earned by exhaustion. Sleep is a gift that flows in when pressure leaves the room. You don't need to be finished to be at peace. You don't need to be perfect to be held by the night. You just need to feel safe in your skin, in your breath, in your story. So here we are. You've breathed. You've chewed. You've moved and hummed and journaled, and maybe for the first time in a long time, you've let yourself feel. And now it's night. Maybe your body still holds a little tension. Maybe your mind still whispers a few worries. That's okay. That's human. You're not broken if sleep doesn't come immediately. You're not failing if your thoughts linger. You're healing, and healing takes time. So I want you to hear this clearly, even if just once. You are not too much. You are not too late. You are not the sum of your stress, your sleepless nights, your bloated stomach, your anxious thoughts. You are a nervous system doing its best to keep you safe. You are a gut that's been trying to communicate with love. You are a brain that's been trying to understand a life that moves too fast. And none of it needs to be perfect for rest to find you. It just needs one thing: permission. Permission to pause, to exhale, to let go of performing, to not have to fix anything tonight, to not carry every burden until sunrise. Right here in this breath, you can be enough. Right now, in this moment, you are already enough. So close your eyes if they're not already closed. Let the weight of the day drop from your shoulders. Let your belly rise. Let your jaw soften. Let the silence be soft, not scary. And if you feel alone, remember, someone else is listening too, breathing too, healing too. You are part of something wider, something quieter, something more tender than anything this world tries to rush you through. You are not alone in the night, and when you're ready, not before, not after, sleep will come. Not because you fought for it, but because you made space for it. Good night, friend. You did enough today. Let's rest. And if this episode spoke to something deep inside you, something quiet, maybe long forgotten, I want to invite you to stay with this journey. You don't have to walk it alone. This podcast, the Stress and Sleep series, was created for moments like this. Moments when you're lying in bed, wide awake, wondering if anyone else feels the way you do. Moments when you're searching for more than hacks and headlines. You're searching for hope, for rhythm, for rest that feels real. So if today's story helped you breathe a little deeper, or cry a little softer, or pause a little longer, I'd be honored if you'd share it with someone who needs that same space. A friend, a partner, someone who's quietly struggling the way you once were. And if you haven't yet, please take a moment to follow this show, leave a review, or even drop a comment. Not for algorithms, but because your word might help someone else find their way here. This work continues because of you, because you're listening, because you're healing, not just for yourself, but for every nervous system that lives around you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for resting with me. I'll see you in the next episode, where we'll go even deeper into what it means to create a life that doesn't just look good from the outside, but feels like home from the inside. Until then, breathe gently and sleep well.